Yo, what's good, Josh? Your boy J Suave. I am the host of J Suave TV. It's been a little over a week since the Power Book 4 finale aired. There's been a lot of talk about the finale of that series, along with the beginning of Power Legacy. Whenever that comes across Power YouTube, Power TikTok, anywhere you really consume Power, everybody's talking about the future of the Power Universe, including myself. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit of exhaustion of just talking Power Legacy and Power 4. Really just talking Power in general. I might take a little break in a little bit. But I do want to talk about Power Origins right quick. Now, this week we did get some updates on Power Origins. We got some cast additions that I spoke about in that short where I mentioned the Crew Has It podcast's return. If you haven't seen that already, go ahead and check that out. I'm not going to be talking about it in this video. In this video, though, I do want to talk about some concerns that I have for Power Origins, mainly one in particular. Now, it's not that much we know about Power Origins already outside of some of the cast that's going to be a part of the series and the episode count, right? We know it's supposed to be 18 episodes in this first season, the most episodes we've ever gotten a Power season, period. So you might ask, what concerns could I already have when we have very minimal information on this series? And to that, I say, the timeline. Now, obviously, nothing has been confirmed yet, but there was this one set image that was going around that I cannot find on Google for the life of me right now. But if you remember, there was this image of Kanan and Ghost riding around in this car, and the year on the tag of this car looked like 2003. And if we were to take this tag literally, that would mean that Power Origins at some point takes place in 2003. And I'm personally not the biggest fan of that. Now, whether this was a typo or not, I do think that this series will take place in 2003 because we know based on some of the descriptions on the cast that's being added to this series that Ghost and Tommy are semi-well established in the drug game at this point, to the point where they have corner boys that have been loyal to them for some time now. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this series definitely does take place in 2003. Now, sometime after this image dropped and we got those earlier cast editions before the one we got this week, I had heard that there's going to be some flashbacks, many flashbacks in this series actually throughout these 18 episodes that detail the life and times of Ghost and Tommy before they got to where they are right now. And me personally, I'm still not the biggest fan of that either. We won't get into the why of all that in this video. So if you got anything I gotta say at all in this Power Origins video, you already know what you gotta do. Go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, follow if you want TikTok. And let's talk about some Power Origins. Now, before we get into the point of what I was saying earlier, I do want to first talk about this image that 50 had dropped on Power Origins stating that the series is coming real soon. And in this image, we see 50 with young Ghost and young Tommy in front of this car wash. Now, apparently the story behind this car wash is that at some point in time, between the end of Raising Kanan and where we are in Power Origins, whether that be 2003, whether that be when Ghost and Tommy first get into the game, sometime between that time, Kanan goes on to own a car wash. He will seemingly be cleaning that dirty ass drug money. If not, use it as a front to move drugs out. Now, it's crazy because Tommy actually hinted to this way back in the day in OG Power. I saw a clip going around with Tommy mentioning this car wash in OG Power. So it's crazy how things come full circle. Really happy to see the writers paying attention to detail and seeming like they are going to be paying a lot of homage to a lot of what was said in OG Power. Now, obviously, I don't expect them to pay homage to everything. I do expect to see a lot of changes in Power Origins to what was said in OG Power, just because that was a time before we even knew we were getting all these spinoffs. But I did like seeing this promoted, and I'm looking forward to seeing the work that Ghost and Tommy do alongside Kanan with this car wash in Origin. Along with that image, we also did get this pretty dope video that 50 dropped right after the end of Force to highlight that Power Origins is in development and that all legends start somewhere. It's not too much to write home about, but it still serves as a valid reminder that Power Origins is in the works and it should be coming hopefully sooner than we think. Now, with all those things said, let's address the elephant in the room of what I was saying earlier on in the video. This timeline issue that I'm having with Power Origins. Let's just start off with this potential 2003 timeline. Let's say, for instance, we don't have any flashbacks, which would be a terrible mistake. But if we didn't have any flashbacks and we just started in 2003, how the hell is that an origin series? With the two main focuses of this series being Tommy and Ghost. We're going to start their journey off with already established corner boy and already firmly established into the game working alongside Kanan. Possibly already after the death of Breeze. That just does not make any sense to me. Just off of that earlier image that I showed you with young Tommy and young Ghost in front of that car wash that Kanan goes on to own at some point, I gotta give the writers a lot more credit than that. I don't even think 50 would allow them to make this happen where the series would start off in 2003 when there's so much that happens before we even get to 2003 that we wouldn't have covered. I know I mentioned earlier in the video the flashbacks that they're going to be incorporated in this series, and I still don't like that either, because how much focus are we going to get on the flashbacks versus what we're going to get in the present day? And I know we have 18 episodes, but again, why not just focus on one timeline and progressively build your way up to 2003? That's mainly where I'm at with it, is like, why are we having this two timeline thing going on right now? Not to say that it can't work, but I just feel like it might get distracting at a point. We could have just had one timeline focusing on everything that happens immediately after Power Book 3 and progressively build our way up to 2003. Even if we had a little time skip, at least we already know the knowledge of what happened back in the day when Ghost and Tommy were still very, very fresh into the game, coming to a point where they are established and they have corner boys doing the work for them. They're growing in their personal life, seeing how they manage responsibilities of the game along with the life that they're trying to build for themselves. Another thing we gotta take into account, right, is in these flashbacks, we're not just seeing Ghost and Tommy grow in the game. We're also gonna see their families and how their families will let them to be who they are right now. We already know that Kate Egan is gonna be part of this series, and we know as of this week that Ghost's grandma is also going to be incorporated in the series. That's on top of everything else that Ghost and Tommy are going to have to deal with to get to where they are in this 2003 timeline. We gotta think about other characters that are coming from Power Book 3 over to Power Origins, like Tremont. Are they gonna deal with him in the past timeline? Are they gonna rush how he's dealt with in the past timeline? If that's the case, why ever bring him back in Power Origins? I can't see you bringing Tremont back in Power Origins if he's not going to play some type of significant role. But then does that take away from present day opposition that Ghost and Tommy are going to be facing in the 2003 timeline? How much is it going to take away from Breeze's character who just got introduced by the end of Power Book 3? How quick are they going to deal with him in the past timeline, knowing that he's probably not going to make it in 2003? I mean, he might, but more than likely, I don't really see Breeze making it in 2003. I mean, he might though. We got to see. Even in the comments, do you think Breeze is going to be an active player in the 2003 timeline, or if he's going to get taken out in the flashback? Because to be taken out in the flashback, they're really going to have to flesh those flashbacks out a lot, and that's what I'm getting at. We have so much that we got to deal with in the past timeline. Why even have there be two timelines that we're going back and forth between? I don't want to sound like too much of a pessimist. I do think there's a world where these two timelines can work. I think Lost is a series that did the whole present day past timeline thing very well, expanding the characters on their cast to deepen their motivations and have us understand them more before the plane crash and where they are at right now on the island. And mind you, Lost does this consistently throughout the run. It's not just in one season. They're constantly flashing back to expand on what's going on in the present day. It's not to say that Power Origins cannot do this and that I don't trust the writers, but that the execution is going to have to be elite. And it's just a risk that I'm questioning, do we even really need to take? But who knows? Maybe a younger version of Ghost and Tommy get introduced in Power Raising Kanan. We get to see that mold happen before the end of that series, going into Power Origins, so we already have an idea of who these characters are and how they actually got into the game, which might then lead the flashbacks to having to do a little less work in Power Origins. But still, I'm just not the biggest fan of this, and I'm definitely a little concerned. But y'all leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about these potential two timelines that Power Origins are trying to tackle? I do trust them to give us a great series. They got a lot of pressure. You cannot give us a mid-tier Power Origins series. It won't be perfect, but the expectations for a series that's focusing on the lives of a young Ghost and Tommy and Kanan are pretty high. Hopefully they meet them. We shall see. Until next time though, I've been your host Jay Suave. You've been entertained, and we're gonna talk soon. Peace out.